Are we live yet?
Shut up. Hello, everyone. It's Jim and Robert, and we are on episode 55. We have an awesome, incredible guest with us tonight. That's a speaker for Imaging USA. February, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, whatever that dates are.
Yes, yeah. Well, let's not tell them what dates it are. We don't want nobody to come.
Okay, so anyway, his name is Giulio Sciorio.
Yes!
You got it right.
I got it right. All right. Welcome to the show, Giulio. I am so excited for you to be on here.
Me too. Me too. Thanks so much.
Okay, so first of all,
let's go right to the direct question. Okay, the class that you're going to have is going to be hybrid photography, and honestly, we were talking before the show started. We were blown away by your website.
Oh, thank you.
So you're going to have to fill us in on what exactly is hybrid photography.
So hybrid photography.
Sorry. The title of the show of this class is 4K. What?
Live shoot.
It's a 4K live shoot, correct?
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Proceed.
So you're asking me what hybrid photography is specifically. So I was brought up as a still photographer. I learned photography, film in the early 90s, and I became a professional in 2005. Just to kind of give you some background.
Mm-hmm.
My business was growing very well. It was a very healthy, still-based business. We do a still shoot, deliver a still image for print media. 2007, I had a banner year. It was amazing. Had a staff, studio, things couldn't get better. And then 2008 happened, and I worked for 6 months. And within those 6 months, I'm like, okay, I got to do something to separate myself. What am I going to do? So rather than going out and buying a ton of new gear and saying, let me get bigger, I said, let me do something that's smarter and different, something that's still rooted with the soul of the image and photography, but something more. And so I started examining video, and I got into making pieces of video that looked like my photography, but happened to have an additional element to it, which was motion. And then I started blending in sound and making short videos, music videos. Over the years, I've been refining it into what we now call hybrid photography, which is the blending of still and motion and sound in some form. But the difference between hybrid photography and, say, cinematography is that everything that we're doing, we're shooting like a photographer. And that's a whole new look and feel to video and sound when it's from the eye of the photographer. And that's hybrid photography.
Okay, so I have to ask, as I'm looking, obviously we have to use lights, flash. Are you using constant light?
I am. So with stills, we can use a constant light or strobes. Right. But when you're shooting hybrid, you can still use constant lights and strobe together, but you do need to have some constant light source for video.
Right.
And I've experimented with all sorts of lights, some light panels, even back to when I first started shooting, to tungsten, to compact fluorescence. But what I end up using now for all my work are our LED lights by Felix. And I love these LED lights because they look like strobes, and they handle like strobes, and I can use light modifiers like strobes, but they're tiny, they don't get hot, I can pack them in a small bag. So my kit used to be like 20 strobes, and now I got a small kit that I could check with my luggage, and I could say, okay, I want this light to be cool, this light to be warm, I want this one to be a little more magenta, and it's all done with dials on the back. It's so easy.
Wow, I'm actually looking at the website right now.
They're awesome. They're so awesome.
Beautiful.
They're so awesome, and they're tiny too. That's the thing, is I love going light.
So without giving away too much of your class, I'd like to ask more questions. Is that okay? I mean, I don't want to.
I don't hide anything. So if you guys have questions about anything, I'm happy to answer it.
Well,
I love to inspire people. So if you need to ask some hard questions to help inspire people, and whether it's their fears or anything, just by all means fire away.
Well, it's like I guess are how okay? Are you shooting the video with the same? I guess you're shooting it with the same camera.
I am. I'm using a Lumix GH4 as my main. That's my bread and butter camera.
Okay, and so you take. Well, okay, you can tell us more if you want, but I'm just flabbergasted.
Yeah, totally. I'll tell you everything.
How do you get the? I mean, obviously you're mixing the video after the fact. You're blending it somehow in post, but as far as you're shooting the picture and then you're in what order? Is there a certain order you're doing it at, or?
Not necessarily. It really depends on the shoot. So I shoot commercial work mainly for advertising and which is now actually social media. That's what advertising is. And so it really varies shoot by shoot. In fact, I did a shoot in Mexico recently for Anheuser-Busch, and they wanted nothing but animated portraits. So for that particular shoot, I shot it all 4K video because we knew that nothing was really going to go to print. If something was going to be used as a still, because I'm shooting 4K video, every frame of video is 8 megapixels. That's plenty of resolution to use online or even in a small print ad.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm still looking at your website, and I have to say, I am just freaking out.
Okay, so
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me jump in here, Jim.
You're fine. You just go right ahead.
You got this baby all day long.
Oh.
I mean, I'm looking at your portfolio section, and it's just a very minor motion. So it's not like you're creating a feature film or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems to add so much more depth to the image that you wouldn't really have in just a still photo. I mean, do you still have your clients looking at this and going, "Oh my God, this is incredible. We got to have it"?
That's all I get hired to do now. I have not been hired to do a still shoot like 3 years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I get called specifically because like the shoot for Anheuser-Busch, or like we needed somebody to do this. We couldn't find anybody. You were like the only person we could find. Turns out you're a pioneer in the industry. We want you to come to Mexico. Let's talk numbers, and that's kind of how it goes.
So what was the first? What was your first discovery? I mean, how did you get discovered? What was your first image, or how that?
So I got into photography in 1993 or 4. I forgot exactly. I was like 18 years old. And a good friend of mine was killed in a car accident, and I inherited his camera, his SLR, because we're talking film.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this camera, and I'm like, it was this hobby that he kind of kept as a secret. And I got his camera, and I'm like, I didn't know Travis was into photography. And then I'm looking through the photos. I'm looking for a photo of Travis and myself together, and I never had one, not one.
Wow.
The only photo I have of Travis to this day, and the only one I ever had, was one that he did, what we call now a selfie. He held his SLR out and did a picture of himself. So that moment in my life, like it really shook me to the core. And I guess, for lack of a better description, I realized the power of photography. And I was a hobbyist for years, and I loved it, and I studied the craft, and I really respected those who can do it for a living. 2005, March 25th, I was shooting digital for fun, and then I said, I can't do corporate America anymore. It's just not for me. And I left, and I started shooting full-time. But it took me 2 years to kind of get established. So I started shooting food. I got into food photography, but not because I necessarily wanted to shoot food, but because I was so poor when I was shooting photography that I ended up eating the props. They're like, we want you to take a picture of octopus. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to eat octopus. I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. I don't care.
Oh my God.
So I did that for a couple years, and on the side I shot portraits because I love working with the human form, and I ended up calling and marketing heavily, and then eventually got a cover with Village Voice Media, and that was where I kind of started taking off.
That's awesome.
I'm still looking at his website, and
Yeah.
I'm actually sending a text message to a couple of friends of mine because I'm sorry, I can't say enough about this website. Just a little bit of motion is just
Oh wow! I just saw. I'm sorry. We're like drooling here on the website.
Very kind.
I'm seeing these images that look like YouTube. Like it's a play button on them, and I didn't want to play them earlier because I didn't want them to make any noise. But they're not. There's no audio. But when I play them, oh my God, they're so cool. Okay, you've got to go to his website immediately. Whoever's listening. Well, we'll put a link in the show notes.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
You try to spell it out. It's a little challenging.
Yeah,
Just a little challenging.
If you're listening in your car or in iTunes or whatever,
stop.
Stop. So pull over and go to the website and look at the show notes and pull it up. I'll spell it for you, but I don't know.
No,
you could also just go to Small Camera Big Picture. That's my blog.
There you go. smallcamerabigpicture.com. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good stuff.
Well,
okay.
Talking about a small camera, let's jump into this for a little bit, because when we're talking about this, and again, I've seen a couple of examples of this, and I'm imagining they're probably going to be your examples I saw, several years ago, and I thought, well, you know what, that's kind of cool, it's kind of cute, little animated GIF, but I'm looking at your portfolio, and this is basically an artistry more so than just some kid playing around with the video camera.
For sure.
This
Absolutely.
thing is you're definitely the master of this by any means whatsoever. When you're looking at a camera, what drove you to go to the Lumix type system? Was there something in particular on this camera equipment that is more likely for someone to benefit from using this type of technology?
Well, sure. The GH cameras, the H stands for hybrid. They're designed specifically for a photographer that wants to shoot for new media, one that is shooting for perhaps print, but also one that's shooting for smartphones and social media. So they're specifically designed for that. And what's so cool about using any of the Lumix cameras, but in particular the GH, is you get a live view while you're shooting. So it's not just that I'm seeing the focus, but I'm seeing if I'm shooting in black and white or color. I could see the shutter speed effects live.
Wow.
I can also see the depth of field live, all at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So what's fun for me, what this does for me as an artist, is it takes a level of technical ability and it kind of pushes it to the side and says, now that you see everything and there's no guessing, you can actually just focus on being creative. And I like that. Like and also they're super small, so I don't have to carry a ton of stuff around with me anymore either. So there's a ton of things I like about the cameras.
Yeah, all of a sudden my back ache is kind of relieving itself. Maybe we need to get rid of those rolling cases we're taking to weddings.
Yeah.
Well, there's other side benefits too. So if you're shooting with a small camera, I had initial fears about doing jobs with small cameras. I was like, oh my God, the client's gonna like freak out. What are my friends gonna think? Strangely enough, that was like the most important thing to me. What are my friends gonna think? I ended up shooting my first assignment with a small camera as a baseball player. And I thought this dude was going to see me with a small little camera and he's going to like cradle me like a baby and pretzel me. I was like, this dude's going to crush me and I'm going to be over, career done. But I showed up and the first thing he said, he's like, what is that? And I was like, in that first moment, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, it's over. Like in my head. Then the second thing he said is like, that's really cool. What kind of camera is that? And then what I discovered accidentally is that people, they see this camera, it's different. It's more, it's less threatening, it's more friendly. And when you can relieve that barrier between a photographer and a subject, all of a sudden you get all these other opportunities to make different portraits that I was not able to before. And that's but that more than anything, I think that's the biggest benefit for using these kinds of cameras.
Wow, so it almost breaks down that barrier of communication between you and the subject, allowing you more freedom creatively.
Right. Wow. It just really put the fun back. I was in a creative block for 2 years before I started using small cameras. Like my Canon system sat in my bag, and I'm like, what am I going to do? And I was able to go on a hiatus because I sold some licenses to a company. I got really lucky, and I was just like, man, I was like, I got tired of lugging this stuff all the time. That and it wasn't fun for me. I felt like I was like just really going into like some sort of like confrontational atmosphere, and I'm like, I don't want photography to be like this. It should be fun. You know,
Wow.
and when you carry a small camera that looks like not the GH4. The GH4 looks like a serious camera, but I got a GM5 that's not much bigger than an iPhone. It's red, and it looks like a toy, but yet I can do pretty much everything with that I can do with the GH4 minus the 4K. You know, it's fun. It just makes photography fun for me again.
Okay. Do you have to have a hybrid camera to do this?
No, definitely not. I mean, you don't even have to have a camera that shoots video, but
Oh.
it certainly helps. Okay, so the type of work you see on my site, you need to have a high-quality video camera. You can do it with some DSLRs, but keep in mind that DSLRs are just not designed to shoot video. They happen to do it. They're really good at shooting stills quickly. They happen to do video, whereas a hybrid camera was designed from the ground up. So it's two different. You're kind of meeting, starting on two different ends with these cameras. But you could shoot a series of still images and put them together in a loop in post-production. It's more difficult than shooting video, but it certainly can be done.
Okay, for example, I've got a G16, Canon G16. Mm-hmm. Would I be able to use the video feature of that camera?
Certainly, and
just to play with this.
Yes, you can even use your iPhone. You know, I don't think that people should make the gear a barrier, but I think a smart photographer should say, okay, this is what I have, equipment-wise. This is what I want to do. Is this equipment the best fit? And if it isn't, then what is? You know, and not be so like, well, I'm going to be loyal to Nikon or Canon. Who cares, man? The companies don't care about you. You got to do what's good for you. And for me, I'm like, well, I grew up with Hasselblad and Nikon, and what's Panasonic? I'm used to like hair dryers and not that I have hair, but you know,
he had to go there. I thought that was so fun.
If I had hair, I would probably buy a Panasonic blow dryer. But the thing is, the cameras make my job as a professional photographer easier, and they, as an artist, I feel I have more freedom with them than I have with any camera for this particular kind of work.
Wow. Well, going back to the class at imaging, the students that are coming to your class, I can already tell just by speaking with you shortly that it's going to be a very creative, an unleashing the creative bounds of just a still photo.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But what is it that you're trying to drive home to them? When they come to your class, what do you want them doing? When they're leaving and going, I learned this today, what is that one thing you want them to take away from the class?
Well, I think overall people need to understand that photography is changing. And I think we kind of all get that as soon as you ask somebody, okay, show me your portfolio, they pull out their iPhone.
Right.
Okay? So you have a device in your pocket, and mind you, there are hundreds of millions of these in the market, hundreds of millions, that a phone will display still image, it'll broadcast sound, it'll also show motion, video. So if you have hundreds of millions of these in a market that's untapped, and I'm a photographer and I want to tap into that market, then I need to be making imagery for that market. Because the younger audience, some of them are going to still want prints, and there's still a market for prints. Prints is not going away. I don't want people to think that print's going away. In fact, film is starting to make a comeback.
Right.
But there is a huge market that, as a business owner, I want to get into. If you go to talk to any investment banker, they're going to tell you what, diversify your portfolio. Right? You got to put all your eggs in one basket. If all I'm doing is trying to sell a print, then all my eggs are in one basket, and if that goes away one day, then I have nothing to offer.
Wow. So not only we learned about 4K video, we just learned about business basics.
Yeah, there's going to be some business basics in this. Like I never went to school for this. I learned by mentoring with some really forward-thinking masters that have been doing it since the 70s, and I've got very lucky. And these guys are still in business because they went with they kind of were going with the flow, and they kept an open mind, and they said, hey, here's digital. I love film, but digital is what people are wanting. I'm going to start shooting digital. It was that kind of mentality that helped them evolve. So yeah, that's part of it. But I think to go back to a long answer to the question, I'm really passionate about this, and I love to inspire people. I have actually on my tattoo tattoos.
Oh, that is awesome!
Yeah, I got inspire on one arm. And
I've been wondering what
pull the other one up.
I got create on the other arm.
I've been wanting to figure out what to get a tattoo. I don't have a tattoo yet.
Well, do whatever is a good fit for you. I've had these for years because I love inspiring people with photography. Like when I inherited my camera, I knew that okay, I can make an image, but I have this for a reason. And a reason is just not to profit financially, and a reason is not just to make art, although those are nice things. I need to do, there's something deeper. And I know that may kind of sound hokey to some people, but that's just how I feel about what I'm doing. And with hybrid photography, what I'm going to be showing is exactly how I shoot on an assignment. I'm not holding anything back. There's not going to be a slideshow. I'm going to just kind of talk to people for like maybe a couple minutes. I've got a recording artist that's based in Nashville. She's going to perform a live show. I'm going to shoot it live. From that shoot, I'm going to make a variety of content. So I'm going to be making still images from both 4K photo and from 16 megapixel shots from the camera. I'm going to be taking those images, I'm going to be mixing them together, and I'm going to be making animated portraits like you see on my site. I'm also going to take those animated portraits because they're video based, and I'm going to show people how to make small, short Instagram videos to also use from all from the same content. And then on top of that, if time allows, because these are short classes, I'm going to take those short video clips and put them together into a longer clip that'll work on Facebook and YouTube. So within one shoot, we're getting still images for print, we're getting still images for online, we're getting Instagram videos to promote for Instagram, 15 seconds, and we're going to get 30 to 90 second videos for the rest of the internet. And that's how I do my job, because I don't ever want to put my eggs in one basket. And I got to say, when you get up to speed doing this kind of stuff, it is a ton of fun.
I'm overwhelmed, and I'm already knowing that there's no way, because I'm looking at your class description right here, and your live shoot is basically set up for, is that an hour and a half?
Yeah.
An hour and a half. There's no way that you could fit all that information in an hour and a half. Is there any other place that the listeners could go to after imaging, maybe? Do you have any tours or anything coming up?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I'm doing a tour on the Northwest Coast starting in February. We're going to start at Sammy's in Los Angeles and go all the way up to Seattle with a friend of mine, Joseph Leninsky, and we're going to be teaching on all of this stuff. Okay, so it's hands-on. The classes are going to be very nominal because they're sponsored by Panasonic, so maybe $5 or $10 to attend. So it's a super awesome deal if someone wants to learn this stuff. If you can't attend those classes, you can also go to lumixlounge.com. You can see what I'm teaching on lumixlounge.com. They got a calendar there. And then, of course, Small Camera Big Picture. If you go to Small Camera Big Picture right now, I talk about how to shoot hybrid photography for weddings. And there's also a free tutorial on how to make animated portraits as well.
Wow.
Wow, I'm
like inspired.
Right,
I think I'm going to change my direction. I'm a geek when it comes to this technical side of things. I mean, because I think this is very technical in my book. I mean, it's creative.
It can be.
Yeah, it's very creative. But because it's not just a matter of putting a couple images together or videos. I mean, you got to have, you obviously got something going on here, buddy. But it
doesn't have to be complicated. Now, here's the thing. So when I first started getting into this, I made my first music video, and that's what I thought I was going to do. I'm like, well, I got to do something with video. Let's make music videos. And so I made one. It wasn't too difficult because I didn't know what I was doing. So I didn't have any kind of follow focus or sliders. I didn't even know what that stuff was. But I shot it. I knew that there was a red button on the back of my camera, and I got a tripod. And I took some friends outside, and I hit record. I say, okay, walk from this side to this side. Okay, go now. Go now and record. And then they do, okay, now walk from here to here, and we go to another part of town. Go ahead. And okay, great, now stand still and turn your head from left to right. And that's how I went along and basically took those clips, threw them into a timeline. I learned Premiere Pro and Final Cut just by making mistakes. And I added music to it, and that's all I did. And I didn't pay attention to the technical stuff. So it can get technical. It doesn't have to. I think that as artists, we all have that fear inside, that voice says, oh, you can't do that, don't even bother, or whatever it says. And that's not our creative brain. That's our other brain that's trying to like scare us. And I think we just got to say, okay, yes, it can be difficult, but no one's going to stop me from setting up my camera, hitting the video button, and trying to make something different. And if I fail, I fail. It's not going to be amazing the first time. If it is, fantastic. But I think for most of us, we just got to get out there and play.
Okay, so to take a turn out here now away from the class, we can always come back, and we probably will. I wanted to ask, what do you think the importance is of the PPA, being a member of PPA?
I think what I like about the PPA is the importance that people put on being a professional, and why it's important to hire a professional, and how to run your business, and keeping committed to the craft of photography, and keeping committed to also knowing where craft of photography is going and how it's evolving. You know, if you go, like when I got into photography, I didn't know there was any groups or anything. I just kind of wandered for years. I would have been a professional photographer way before I started, had I discovered PPA. Mm. I just didn't know. So for me, as a young man trying to figure this stuff out, this is before the internet, by the way. You know, I would ask a lot of these older guys, hey, can you show me? And they want to share any of their knowledge with me. And that was a real bummer for a while. So I had to learn on my own. But something like the PPA, it's an open invitation for somebody that may be new to the business and say, hey, I'm new to the business. I don't really understand it, but I'm willing to learn, and I have an open mind, and I'm excited about what the possibilities are. And the PPA is there to help these new photographers grow and establish their businesses, and establish photographers evolve with what's happening in photography. And I think you can't even put a dollar amount on that.
Wow. Okay, so speaking of PPA and competition, you know, because we have competition in there, that's a good thing to do. With this hybrid stuff, can you submit that as digital competition?
No, not yet, and not yet. And
that's a great question, Jim.
Yeah, it is a great question, and I've asked, and I see. And here's the thing, and I want people to know that unfortunately I'm not a PPA member because I'm not able to submit to these competitions.
Oh yeah.
You know, I would love to get a really cool 4K screen, throw it up on the wall, and show my art.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, that's PPA is not at that point yet, but there is an openness to it, and I think that's the first step.
Wow, yeah. I mean that's actually a great question, Jim. I would never thought about that. I mean, you're basically so far ahead of where photography is that there's not even a competition or a way to display your images at a national convention.
Right.
So PPA, it's time to listen up. This is the man we need to follow.
Yeah.
It's very kind. It's taken a while. Like when I started doing this stuff in 2009, there was nothing. I mean, it was like put it on the internet and, you know, it plays like a video. But now, through using tools like the Lumix cameras and Flixel, I'm a big fan of using Flixel. It's finally starting to get there, but it's gonna, you know. Here's if you don't mind me, I'm gonna speak frankly here.
No,
go right ahead.
There are, not that I haven't to this point, but things like the iPhone, like GoPro, those should have been released by a camera company. Those were opportunities that were there that the camera companies did not see, that no one saw. And you know, and it's like, well, were we not paying attention, or did we choose to ignore it, or for whatever reason? Those are things that in my eyes should have been the GoPro should have been the GoPro Nikon or whatever, right? But we were missing these opportunities, and the thing is, to go back to what I call the age of screens, we're now in the age of screens where everybody's got a screen in their pocket. We need to pay attention to that. I mean, you do a wedding of like a 20-something-year-old. Yeah, they're cool with prints, but they may not be going forward. They may say, hey, I want just animated stuff. In fact, I got hired to shoot a wedding in Miami that was nothing but animated GIFs.
Wow.
They're like, we want animated GIFs, and I don't shoot weddings because that was my first thing. I'm like, I don't even know how to make a wedding album. I'm not a wedding photographer. They're like, we don't want that. We want animated GIFs because we want to show these online. Cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's
okay.
okay. Before you get, no, hang on. It's my turn. Okay, so we're gonna actually give you a break. So you get to pick a number between 1 and 10 for your Bazinga question of the day.
7.
7. Okay. This way it'll kind of seem as though we're not just like randomly picking stuff for our speakers.
I want to, while you're looking, I want to ask him.
Okay, hang on. This is a good question.
The Zynga question that we can't ask because it won't work. I will tell you why. Okay, here's. Okay.
Well, okay. What is it?
It's what technique or equipment is always involved in the gotta get the shot. Well, we already know that.
That's not a Bazinga question. This one's better.
I know, but I was looking at my questions, and that is the question. It doesn't work. I mean,
okay, this one's better. All right, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the Bazinga question. So, if you were a lens, which lens would you be and why?
Oh, that's seriously. This is totally not planned, but here it's actually on my desk.
No, my God!
Oh my gosh!
This is how much I love this lens. It's actually on my desk. This is the Panasonic Leica Nocticron. It's a 42.5 f1.2.
Wow, 1.2.
Yeah, it's equivalent to a like an 85 millimeter f1.2.
Oh my God, I bet you that thing is absolutely beautiful.
It's gorgeous, and when you shoot wide open.
Why would you be that lens?
I love the character of the lens, and I think that I'm a person that has a unique character.
Okay, again, this was not planned. This was not pre-planned before you had the lens on your desk.
On the desk.
That is crazy. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. When we're doing this video, we like to take clips if something cool happens.
And that was cool.
That we're going to take that clip, and also from with your permission, the tattoo clip.
Of course, whatever you need.
Okay, yeah, we'll put that in the blog post with the episode.
I'm digging the tattoos. I've seen a lot of photographers with tattoos. It's normally a camera with some vines, but very rarely does it actually speak directly to what we do as image makers.
Did you notice the iris though? The little shutter.
No way, I didn't see that.
Yeah, look.
Nice. I like that. I would show you my tattoo, but it's actually my name of my ex-wife, so I haven't had that covered up yet. Well, that is awesome. I think this has been an incredible. I'm just in awe right now. I'm shocked. I mean, it is late in the day, but I mean, I have the images on the side monitor, and every time I look at it and see the lady's head move, it's almost a little scary.
It can be, and that there's part of those. Some of those images are designed for the element of surprise. Some of them are not, but overall, they're going to be, until we as photographers start to train our eyes to see that, they're going to be a little strange. But that's such a great opportunity right now, because animated imagery, hybrid imagery online gets 400 to 500% more engagement than just a static image.
Wow.
And it's because there's so many good photographers online. There's so much good work that people are going through your work on Instagram or whatever. They're like, oh, that's great, that's beautiful sunset, horse, portrait, baby, and then like, whoa, that photo just winked at me, or whatever it is,
Okay,
you've mentioned Instagram twice. I've got to follow you on Instagram, because that is just absolutely amazing. What's your username on Instagram?
Just my name. It's just Giulio Sciorio. So.
Okay, well, that'll be easy then. That'll be easy to find. Okay, Jim.
Hey, so speaking of being being scary, you've probably already done this, but my idea is something just really ugly and scary, some creature or something, and have some movement in it. Just some kind of outrageous scene.
Are you volunteering for a photo shoot, Jim?
Yeah. want to do this. But have you done any scary stuff like that?
I haven't done any types of shots like that, but I thought about it for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
Yeah.
well, let me take that back. I did. So one of my first jobs, this will be funny too. One of my first jobs was shooting pinups for a startup company. In one of my first jobs with animated work, I should say. And I did the one in October was this performance artist, and she was a real pinup model. She did this thing with this like cape, and so she covered herself up, and then she did this cape, and it came up, and we had bats fly over her, like animated bats. It was way, like, I don't go that over the top anymore, but that was kind of like the craziest one. But I'll tell you this, and here's a little bit of trivia. If you are a fan of Judge Judy, once in a while you may see me on Judge Judy.
Oh, really?
No, you're kidding me.
We're okay. Explain. You can't just leave us.
Okay,
hanging.
so like I said, the job was a startup company, and they ran out of money and wasn't able to pay my crew. So my assistant and I went on Judge Judy, which is not real court; it's reality TV. So it's real-ish.
The truth comes out.
Yeah, it's real. It's real-ish. You still got to file. You got to file in small claims court, which is about $50. So that part is real. The rest of it is somewhat coached. They're kind of hoping that the plaintiff and the defendant hate each other, but this was my assistant. We didn't hate each other, so we're like, yeah, let's go on. We'll have a good time, and whoever wins, whoever loses, loses. So he won. I wasn't really putting up a fight, but he won. They paid him in full, and let the good times roll. Judge Judy, though, oh man, oh my God, she is something else, and it rhymes with itch. It's she is so tough. She is so tough, and I don't know if she's acting, but she's so tough, man. I'm glad that there was a barrier between her and I, because she may be short, but she is mighty.
Oh, that is awesome.
I thought you were
my ex-wife, but I have to.
She's brutal, man. She's so aggressive. I was scared. I was scared.
Here's what I was picturing. I was picturing when you said you were on Judge. You might see me on Judge Judy. Maybe you're like one of the photographers or the camera guy or somebody back in the audience or something. I didn't know you were actually a plaintiff.
I was a defendant. I was a defendant. Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, okay. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners before we sign off? Because this has been. I want to get back to your website. I'm sorry. It's like I just want to end this so I can get on the website and go, oh my God, look at how cool this is. And one thing I did realize, I want to point out that I really think that you've kind of changed my mind just in the 30 minutes we've been speaking. But as a portrait and wedding photographer, I'm always looking to decorate the walls of my family's homes. But now you basically opened up all of the screens that are in everyone's pocket, in everyone's briefcase. That is a medium as a photographer that no one really is going after in the manner you are as a master.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I agree. And it's like I think a lot of people are intimidated by video, and I don't think we have to be. When we use an iPhone, when we make video, we're not even thinking twice about it. About whether it's still or video, we're just turning it on and hitting the button, and we need to take that reckless, crazy approach with our experimenting with our photography. It's like, hey, that looks cool. Let's take a still, but let's see what it looks like when it moves. So imagine if you're shooting, you're doing a portrait of a baby, and maybe you do your still images, or you just shoot it all 4K video because you can print that now. But then maybe the mother has the portrait on the phone, and when you look at it, the toes just start to move.
Wow.
Or maybe the baby yawns, and you hear the cute little baby sounds.
Yeah.
And then you can still offer. So you offer a print, you offer something for the screen. You have two different types of content to offer for sale.
Okay.
Without doing any more work,
Do they exist? The digital frame, those digital photo frames where you slideshow frame. Does it have video? Could you play these on?
The better ones do, and there's actually a few companies. There's one in San Francisco, and then there's one in Portland that are making high-end gallery type frames. So the high-end market is getting involved into this.
There you go. That's you, baby.
But imagine, okay, but even so, if you have a television, you have an Apple TV.
Yes.
You can.
Yes,
you
we
can,
do.
right?
I do.
Okay, so there you go. So next time you have a party, you're showing animated imagery from maybe it's a vacation and it's the waves coming in and going out real slow, just stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be just animated. You can mix that in with your stills. That's hybrid when you mix it in with your stills.
Beautiful.
I think but the one thing I would really like for people to, and I guess for the PPA, is to really take a look and acknowledge what's happening with photography, and to be open-minded to putting a screen on the wall and thinking about that as a potential canvas for judging. And I would love to be able to help the PPA in that direction.
Ooh, I'm liking this. Is almost like a little challenge. I like that.
I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. Like if they want some guidance or some help, I will be glad to offer anything I can to help, because I think that as new generations of photographers come in, they're going to be trying stuff that's different, and as masters in this field, we kind of owe it to ourselves and to the newer generations to show them that we're flexible with new types of media, and that we still want to embrace the past and embrace the heritage of photography, but also help the newer photographers find that middle ground, because the last thing we want to do is, as this stuff becomes easier, the last thing we want to do is just shoot it and give it away.
Right.
Okay, and so that's really the bigger picture, is like, okay, I can show people how to do this kind of stuff on their iPad. Okay, I can show people how to do it really, really easy. Put your feet up on your couch, do it real easy. Okay, so just because it's easier doesn't mean it's less valuable. So I think it's really important for the PPA to take a lead in this and start to say, okay, well, this stuff, this is not just a trend. This is becoming an area of photography that's going to stay. Let's help the photographers figure out a way to market this and to sell this before it becomes another thing where it's like, hey, I'm shooting a wedding. Here's a CD with all my photos. Thank you. Goodbye.
Right.
We don't want that to happen anymore. This is an opportunity, and if we as a profession turn our eye to it, it could not do. We have an opportunity. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm loving that.
So all the listeners that's getting inspired and wants to get into this, or if you're already into it, get on.
I don't think so.
If you're dabbling, whatever. I mean,
they don't have 4K cameras in prison.
Get on the PPA loop and start talking about it. And I think I'm gonna change the name of this episode, the title.
Yeah, we're gonna change it too.
Maybe something along the lines of hybrid photography and a PPA challenge or something.
Cool.
There you go. The
whatever
challenge of hybrid photography competition.
Yeah.
I like that. Since we don't have any sponsors right now, we can do this kind of stuff, so we can talk honestly all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important that we do in photography. There's a way to do it like we're doing it that's open and honest, that is inclusive, and I think this is a good show to do that on.
Oh, I really appreciate that. We got kudos from the man. All right, Jim, well, go ahead and take us off of this thing, and thank you so much. It was great meeting you, and I cannot wait to see you at Imaging.
Thanks, guys. I can't wait to see you guys, too.
Bright and early at 7:30 a.m. on
7:30.
Sunday.
It's going to be early, but the thing is, come out, and then we can all go to breakfast.
Oh,
it's going to be worth it. It'll be better than a cup of coffee. I promise you. We got something. It's just going to be cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, we come in Saturday, sometime Saturday, so we'll have to go to bed early, Robert. No cuddling.
We're old.
I'm going to bed early. I got to be up like at 4 or 5 in the morning so I can be ready. But it's worth it. Little by little, this is taking the idea of hybrid photography is gaining momentum because it's happening in front of us. And video and still, it's in cameras, and at this point, they're never going to go backwards and say, well, we're going to take video out of all the cameras. It's not happening. So we're here.
Unless you're Nikon.
Okay, I wasn't going to say that.
And then you raise the price and take the video out.
Right. It's a feature. It's a feature.
All right. Well, we're signing off. Thank you so much. It was a total blast. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I can't wait to see you in Nashville. So
likewise.
All right. We'll talk later. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.